All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Well, free agency is underway. It's only day 2, but how have the other Super Bowl contenders, other than the 49ers, done in free agency? We'll hit that coming up next. There's some interesting names being floated around, or I should say being moved around the NFL. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by MarinAutoglass.com. Check them out, 415-883-3030. Sharp Corners, sports cards and collectibles. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And we're always sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. All right. Well, the 49ers have done a few things. They signed a defensive tackle who I really, really like, Jordan Elliott, the University of Missouri, played for Cleveland. Really good run stuffer, but also quick feet. They added Leonard Floyd as a pass rusher. And Floyd, I definitely think, will help them. Yatir Gross Matos, the former Penn State star, is kind of a late bloomer type. They added him as well as a pass rusher. They've seen some players move on in free agency. Sam Darnold, Cleveland Farrell, Javon Kinlaw, Charlie Warner, and there'll be a parade of others coming. But what have the contenders not named the 49ers done in free agency in the first couple days? Well, let's go through it for a second. And we'll just take the Super Bowl contenders, and I'll put the Super Bowl, and there's probably more Super Bowl contenders that I'm going to list here, but I have the Super Bowl contenders in the NFC as the Niners, Philly, Dallas, Green Bay, and Detroit. And then obviously in the AFC, Kansas City and Baltimore. You could throw Cincinnati in there if you wanted, but for this exercise, I just have Kansas City and Baltimore. So let's start with Kansas City. They re-signed Chris Jones. They have franchise tagged their fantastic corner, L'Jarius Sneed. So there's a very good chance they're going to wind up keeping Sneed and Jones, their best player on the back end, the best player on the front of their defense. So that's obviously a huge thing for them. Today, the Chiefs added another tight end, and it's a pretty good one. Irv Smith, who's been around the league a little bit, but Irv Smith's got a lot of talent. He will give them a much more serious 2 tight end look with Travis Kelce next year. So that's what Kansas City has done thus far. They also lost Willie Gay, and we'll talk about Willie Gay, but he left in free agency today. Now, how about Baltimore? Baltimore re-signed Justin Matabuke. They put the franchise tag on him and then signed him to a big money long-term deal. So they locked up their best player on their front seven. And then Baltimore signed Derrick Henry today. That's right. Be careful, AFC contenders. Derrick Henry is now a Baltimore Raven. And I could see Derrick Henry having 2 or 3 monster years in Baltimore. So they run it a ton. They run it between the tackles. He's a power back who excels at running it between the tackles. So Baltimore got better with the addition of Derrick Henry. And Kansas City got better by keeping Sneed and Jones and signing Irv Smith. All right, so those teams got better. Now let's jump over to the NFC side. Philadelphia, according to reports, is on the verge of signing Justin Simmons. So that's going to give them a top-tier safety. They let some of their safeties go over the last couple of years, and they let one of their premier safeties go just a couple of days ago. They've also signed Saquon Barkley. They moved Swift on. He went to the Bears, and they replaced him with Saquon Barkley. And they've added Bryce Huff. So Fletcher Cox has retired. He drove off into the sunset. Jason Kelce did the same. But the Eagles have added Justin Simmons on the back end, Saquon Barkley, and Bryce Huff, and Zach Bond, the linebacker. So that's not bad. Not bad at all. Barkley, if they can get the most out of him, is a major upgrade from the backs they've had. Bryce Huff is a phenomenal pass rusher. I mean, right now they've got Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, and Bryce Huff. There's talk that Reddick and Sweat will be traded at some point. They also have Nolan Smith from last year's draft, who runs sub 4.5. So now they've got Bryce Huff off the edge. That is a major get for the Eagles. So that, I think the Eagles look like they may have gotten better. We'll see how they replace Fletcher Cox. Dallas does not have a lot of money, but Dallas has signed Willie Gay, the Chiefs linebacker, who's incredibly fast. And, now Dallas on that second level can really run. I mean, they've got some linebacker speed now at that second level, which they have not had. I think that's a major reason they haven't been good against the run, is they don't have big time speed on the second level. Well, they do now. They got Damone Clark, the former LSU star, and Willie Gay, the former Mississippi State star, who runs incredibly. I mean, you saw him, run down Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl a couple times. Willie Gay can flat out run. So Dallas gets a little faster. Now, let's get to the team that I think really got better, and that's the Green Bay Packers. The one thing about Brian Gutekunst, he's committed to building through the draft, but he wants to take a few big swings in free agency. So that already kind of changes him from Ted Thompson as far as philosophical differences. Ted Thompson was almost always building through the draft. Gutekunst will take shots in free agency. And on the first 2 days, he's added Josh Jacobs, one of the best running backs in football, and Xavier McKinney, a phenomenal safety from the New York Giants. So he got two, I don't want to say superstars, but definite big-time players there, guys who can make the Pro Bowl, guys who may make the Pro Bowl. Now, they did lose Darnell Savage, so McKinney replaces Savage. But, yeah. Josh Jacobs, and they did lose Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is out. So, out goes Savage and Jones, in come Jacobs and McKinney. They get younger, healthier, and probably a little better. And then let's look at Detroit. Detroit re-signed Emmanuel Mosley. They signed Amik Robertson away from the Raiders, the corner. So they're trying desperately to improve their secondary, which was bad. They re-upped Graham Glasgow, the offensive guard. They lost Jonah Jackson, I believe, in free agency. But then today they signed Marcus Davenport, a defensive end. So, now it's not just Aiden Hutchinson. It's Hutchinson on this side. It's Davenport on that side. So they're now building up this defensive line around Aiden Hutchinson. And they're going to try to improve that secondary as much as they can. So Detroit, I think, is improved. So there you go. I mean, you've got 4 NFC contenders and 2 AFC contenders. And I think if you look closely at them, they've all improved. Which just makes the Niners' run to get back to the Super Bowl that much more difficult. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.